Hey there folks, my name is EmptyBerry, and welcome to today's episode of Lore to Go, the series where we talk about the story behind games in 5 minutes or less. This episode will be about Osiris, the exiled warlock who trained Ikora and one of the strongest guardians alive. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel in order to see more videos about characters and events in the Destiny universe. With all that said, let's jump into it. In the early days of the last city, when the Iron Lords were still whole, Osiris studied under them, eventually growing into a legendary guardian in his own right. After the fall of the Iron Lords, the Speaker rose to power and established the Consensus and the Vanguard in the city. Osiris was nominated as a Vanguard commander after his friend Saint 14 stepped down from the position to continue his crusade on the Fallen. While the Speaker and Osiris did not always see eye to eye, they worked together for several decades, helping to stabilize the last city against numerous Fallen attacks. During his time as Vanguard commander, Osiris began to research more into the Vex and the nature of the darkness. His research was considered dangerous, as it was borderline blasphemous and was diverting impressionable guardians away from protecting the city. His student Ikora was eventually able to get him to be more present in Vanguard activities, though this generally led to him getting into arguments with the Speaker over the nature of the Traveler, the direction of the city, the nature of the Vex, and the purpose of the Guardians. These arguments began to spread amongst the Guardians, leading to fights between those that saw him as a savior and others who saw him as a heretic. Eventually, the Speaker gathered the Consensus, declared Osiris a Cancer, and exiled him from the city. Osiris willingly accepted his exile and appointed Ikora Rey as his replacement in the Vanguard. During his exile, Osiris further delved into his research on the Vex, though many in the city still supported him. His followers, known as the Disciples of Osiris, began a crucible tournament known as the Trials of Osiris, where they sought to recruit the toughest guardians in the city to their causes. While in exile, Osiris spent much of his time researching the Infinite Forest, a planet-sized machine created by the Vex that simulates infinite alternating realities, which the Vex use to plan their actions in the current timeline. After the Red War, he would recruit the Guardian to help him defeat the Vex Mind Panoptes, who was in charge of the Infinite Forest. Osiris would continue to work with Ikora and the Guardian, utilizing the Infinite Forest to predict the actions of the Vex and stop them before they could enact their plans. With the Drifter's help, he created the Sundial, a machine capable of utilizing the Infinite Forest to travel to the past. The Guardian and Osiris would use this tool to save the legendary Titan, Saint 14, from death at the hands of the Vex. Through the use of the Infinite Forest, Osiris would come to realize that the arrival of the Pyramid ships was soon at hand, due to simulations concentrating on that event in the near future. He was the first to raise the alarm to the Vanguard and to start gathering allies against an invasion. After the arrival of the Pyramid ships in the system, Osiris began to investigate an appearance of Hive in the Tangled Shore. Using technology from the Dreadnought, he was able to tap into Hive communication and learned that Savathun was being hunted by the Black Fleet. In her absence, Xivu Arath was taking advantage and launching a campaign into the system. Osiris would investigate further on the Moon, where he found the remainder of the Scarlet Court speaking with an emissary of Xivu Arath known as the High Celebrant. Osiris would launch a surprise attack that killed the entirety of the Scarlet Court, but he had no chance against the High Celebrant. In order to allow him to escape, Osiris's ghost Sagira sacrificed herself to stop a Hive ritual that would kill him. Osiris was alive, but ghostless, and in this weakened state, Savathun appeared and possessed his body, shoving his consciousness into a prison within his mind. Osiris would remain possessed by Savathun for the better part of a year, in which she used the Vanguard's trust in him to further her own goals. Eventually, the ruse would be discovered during the Endless Night, in which she used Osiris to influence members of the future war cult to unleash the Vex within the last city. Confronted by the Vanguard and Mara Sov, Savathun agreed to return Osiris in exchange for Mara's help in removing her worm. Following a ritual which did so, Mara attempted to execute Savathun, but the Hive Queen utilized a contingency spell to swap places with Osiris. After the Techeuns confirmed it was truly him, Saint 14 brought Osiris's unconscious body back to the last city to care for him as they waited for the former Warlock to recover and wake up from his ordeal. He has remained comatose and under Saint 14's care for almost a year at this point, but he will surely recover and return once again to assist in the Vanguard with their fight against the darkness. That story has yet to be told, but I will be here with you to explore it when the time comes. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Lore to Go. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to make sure you don't miss out on any future content. That's all for today though. Thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you next time.